right, welcome to another edition of After the Whistle, and we back after I don't know when was the last episode, but we back. Me and Todd, this guy here.
It's warm outside, man.
Yeah, I don't know where his shirt is at, but but we here, and I think we're back to consistently doing a show every week. So stay tuned. We'll get more of us. So we're going to get right into it. There's some breaking news in the NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic are boycotting their Game 5 game that was supposed to start like at 4:30, I believe. It was supposed to start. And the Bucks didn't come out the locker room, and the Magic did come out the locker room, and they went back. So, and then last I saw on Twitter, the Bucks ball boy was packing up the basketballs, putting them back in the bag. And this is all because of the shooting that occurred in Milwaukee on Sunday, and then the shooting that happened last night in Milwaukee, where a 17-year-old male, I'll let you guess what his ethnicity is, shot two or three folks with an AR-15. He's been charged with first-degree murder. And this is happening in Wisconsin. You know, the Bucks, it's right in their backyard. So I commend them for doing that.
I commend them. I wish they would have talked to Orlando, but before they stayed in the locker room, Orlando came out. Cause it looks kind of, it looks suspect. But I'm sure everybody got the news at different times. So I applaud the NBA for just putting their foot down and realizing that sport is never bigger than world issues.
Yeah, I think the Magic at one point were in the locker room too. Because I think there's been a lot of teams discussing about what they were going to do for their games, but I think, each team has a representative to speak for each other. So I think the Magic, they were in the locker room as well too. I think they were on the court at one point, then they went back. But I know at one point both teams weren't on the court. So that's that. And these players, this is a lot. Is asking a lot of them to do something. Number one, you were off from March to like July. You were off not playing basketball, and then you get back in some not normal circumstances to play, and then you got everything else happening in the world. We got this pandemic happening. Then we have the protests happening. So there's a whole lot of stuff, and people look to players or athletes for times like this. I don't know why people look to athletes as if they're the ones that are the policymakers or the ones that are supposed to make change, but they're influential people, and I think this was weighing on them, judging from all the remarks from the press conferences.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think weren't sports kind of created to help people forget about what was going on in the war years ago? So if that's supposed to distract you from what's going on across the globe, it shouldn't be able to distract you what's going on in your own backyard. Yeah. So I applaud these guys for putting their foot down and showing people that we don't care how much money we get paid. At the end of the day, we are a certain race of people because they're all different races, but we are people before anything. Yeah. So I applaud them.
And they also, and you could see from Monday, what's today, Wednesday? I keep forgetting the days. Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, so you could have seen from some of the post-game comments of the past couple games. I mean, you had Monday, Chris Paul said in his post-game, a win's good and all that, but there's more important issues happening in the world. A man just got shot 7 times in his back in front of his kids. We need to get people to go out and vote. We need to make sure we do our part to help change the climate of the country, because playing basketball is all good, but there's people that got to deal with certain things that we have to deal with too. Even though we're athletes, we make a lot of money, it still don't matter, because the Bucks have a player on their team who was a victim of police brutality. So I know they completely understand what's happening.
Definitely, man. And like Doc Rivers made a statement talking about we keep loving this country and don't love us back, and that's just the truth. You know me, I love being across the water because the love is more genuine than it is in our own country. Yeah. I don't get any side eyes. I don't get nothing. I get hugs, sign autographs, just simple respect, just appreciating the energy you bring to the world. Yeah. And out here, it's more than just that.
Yeah, and there's such a double standard. There's such a double standard, and certain people don't see that double standard when they go on their social media and make certain remarks about certain things that are happening, but they don't see the double standard that's happening. Like, literally, a 17-year-old shot 2 people, and they're trying to say, 2 or 3 people, and they're trying to say, some people are already online trying to say it was self-defense, or trying to, protect him, or give him a pass, or give him excuses, but when Trayvon Martin was 17 years old and he got and he got unjustifiably killed. It was, he smoked, he had marijuana. He got suspended for marijuana. Oh, he had on a black hoodie. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And this happens so much, and some people just, they don't care. They just see a certain thing and they're gonna stick with that, and then they see another thing, they're gonna stick with that, and it just, this is the frustrating part. A lot of people, black, brown, any person of color, any minority. This is the frustration they have with people when they see something that a black, brown person does, and then they see something that a non-black, brown person does, and consequences are too different. Consequences vary between each.
I always disagree with that because we're all human. We all got 2 arms, 2 feet for the most part if we're born blessed enough to have all our body parts. But it should never be a double standard. We always joke around about, like, I'm allowed to say certain stuff because I'm bright. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Compared to if I was a lot darker, I wouldn't be able to just act a certain way. And, me going to private school, I just noticed that and understood it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because some of my friends were darker and I got more leeway than they did.
Yeah.
But that's not how the world should be, man. At all. And, like, it's getting ridiculous, man. Like, there's no reason why you should ever try to make an excuse for a 17-year-old man or 17-year-old boy shooting anything at anybody.
Yeah.
Because if that was us, we'd be called hoodlums, everything under the sun. But then they try to defend him. Like, nah. And Trayvon Martin, there's no excuse for a grown man shooting a kid. Either learn how to defend yourself. For one, if you're going to be a security guy, you should be trained in certain levels of defense. Just like your police officers, you should be skilled and trained in certain levels of defense. You won't have to shoot people when you feel like your life is at danger or if you feel uneasy by somebody's demeanor. You should be able to restrain them without killing them.
Yeah. So I'm getting more. So I'm looking on Twitter and seeing more information. So what I'm seeing right now. So the Bucks players, they made this decision pregame to boycott. They were already thinking about it the past couple of days, but they made this decision. And then the Magic players, they wanted to play, but then returned to the locker room. So that's what you got. Well, I got those.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing. And if the guys don't want to play under certain circumstances, they shouldn't play. Personally, I thought they should have never went to the bubble in the first place. But granted, the NBA has put together a great product. It's been fun to watch most of these games, but it's with everything happening, especially with COVID happening, and then you got the protests happening in the country. It just seems like it was good to watch the games, but then it was just like, we still have to address certain things. I mean, Breonna Taylor, the Attorney General in Kentucky, he was at the Republican National Convention making a speech, and he has yet to prosecute the officers that killed her. People still trying to get justice for her, and it's like it's really a rough time.
Oh, what I was gonna speak on, you talking about double standard as well. Me being in the school system, I try to tell these kids, you can't expect to be treated like a baby in school and then talk like a grown man or grown woman outside of school. I treat everybody the same because you're not looked at like a little kid outside of school, as you see. Like, we get looked at totally different than the other races get looked at because for some odd reason. Like, I tell them, you're 13, but you look like you're 17, 18.
Yeah.
We don't get the benefit of doubt. We're out in the streets like other people do.
Yeah, definitely. And here, just so for some more information for everybody. So the Bucks player that I mentioned earlier, his name's Sterling Brown. So I believe it was like last year or the year before, he was a victim of police brutality by the Milwaukee police, and he still has an active lawsuit against the city of Milwaukee for the police brutality that happened in January of 2018. So that's still going on. He's still having to deal with that.
Man, I don't even know what to say that because my whole thing is there's been so many lawsuits against the police because people weren't able to become those officers. So that was like free for all. Let anybody become a cop.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You need to go back to certain things where I feel like treat law enforcement like the military. You got ailments and certain issues, you can't be part of law enforcement. Yeah. Just because you're not gonna send people who aren't that physically able to walk. Yeah. Why you gonna have them patrol the streets?
Yeah. People who aren't mentally there
and physically able. Like, and if you feel bad about it, so what? Go find occupation somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing. That's one thing with being a law enforcement. It's like the mental part of it. You have to mentally, be there to do the job. Because the job's already draining enough. Plus depending on where you work, you already got to deal with certain folks that people. Some people are just naturally jerks that you come in constant contact with, that you got to deal with. So it's.
And I was reading some things online saying like you might start pairing up officers of the same race together, pair up a black officer and a white officer. Yeah. So depending on where you're at, one could probably de-escalate the situation because they understand the situation.
Yeah.
Because even we've been in areas where we didn't understand certain people. Yeah. So we might have had a white guy with us, like sometimes we have Joe with us. Different understandings of different things, perspectives. Yeah.
But that's another little great thing about growing up in Lynn. We know how to adapt to any environment.
Anyway,
so we can go somewhere and we can adapt to whatever, however the place looks. If you're from Lynn, you should be able to adapt.
and if you work for the people, you have to understand the people.
Yeah.
You can't just come here to clock in and clock out. And it's like, what is your purpose?
And it's also crazy how you said about the lawsuit at some point. They're getting tired of being sued and stuff. Who pays for it? The people. The tax dollars, whatever they do all these settlements, this is coming out of taxpayers' pockets. So at some point, taxpayers also, they're just going to be like, listen, our tax dollars can't be going to these settlements. I mean, y'all got to do better.
Well, they should be going to training a lot of these officers. Because a lot of these officers are just scared.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, though. It's not that being an officer is not an easy job.
It's not.
So I could imagine what it feels like to walk around with a pistol when you think your life's on the line. But most of these guys, a lot of these guys shouldn't have these pistols on their waist.
Yeah.
Get batons for the first year or something. I don't know.
Is that like that Slick Rick music?
Yeah, I think at some point some officers had batons, some had guns.
That's the old European style, right?
And me having a dad who's law enforcement and he's a mixed martial artist, the last thing he's worrying about is pulling out a pistol.
Yeah.
He'd rather show you some of this karate. Jiu-jitsu he got.
Right. Yeah. Also, here's an interesting note. Folks, I'm on Twitter getting updates, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at updates from the Twitter. My computer's over there. I don't even want to reach, so I got the phone right here. So for this protest, this boycott happens 4 years to the day that Colin Kaepernick began his peaceful protest back in 2016. So it's quite interesting.
I mean, things have changed from 400 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's like baby steps, man.
Yeah.
There's no leaps, there's baby steps.
Yeah, definitely. And
crazy.
All right, so we'll get into we'll get into some basketball. Right. So there is a damning article about their owner, and this is the second one this summer, and it's basically sexual misconduct happening in the workplace by the owner. They had one earlier this year. It was just some former employees, female employee, just talking about the work environment and just how it wasn't great. It wasn't a good look. And now another one came. It was a cheerleader. So it's talking about the sexist rules that happen and just basically the whole environment. And Dan Snyder just doing the most. But I'll send you the link to the article too if you want to get a chance to just skim through it. But it's damning.
Well, I don't know, from the looks of it, they might as well just shut that whole organization down.
Yeah. They need to.
Or
Dan Snyder needs to
just shut it down, move it to another area in Washington, I guess. Or for one, why is it such an issue to change the name?
Yeah.
That just shows what the mindset of that organization is when you're making it a big issue to change the name. Like, come on. Yeah. So just as a whole, man, throw that whole team in the garbage.
Yeah, but we're talking about these guys asking to make videos and making lewd remarks towards females, and the person's denying the allegation. But the whole story, it's on the Washington Post. The entire story, if you read it, it's really ridiculous. And just the environment, the work environment. No wonder the team has been the way they're.
And that's what I mean. It just sounds like the most unprofessional organization around any league. Just because, for one, you're professionals. Why are you talking like that in the workplace?
Yeah.
Just certain things you shouldn't even be said in the office. And I don't know, man. I don't know too much about that.
I'll send you a link. And some of these videos, and they're talking about videos being sent to employees or executive meetings, just like, you know, some videos we can't really talk about, but
Was it like a frat?
From the sound of it, that's what it seemed like. It was like a frat. They was just acting very inappropriately. And for you as an owner to have 2 of these articles come out in like a 3-month span in the same year, that is a terrible look.
So, do people really think they're like above everything? Cause that's the vibe I get when you have 2 articles like that and you're the owner of something. I mean, you're the face of not the face of a franchise, but you're the umbrella over the franchise. So why do you think that's okay for it? Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, and
that's
like
crazy.
They also talk about the male bosses commenting on their bodies and clothing and sexual innuendos. I think I said that word correctly. Yeah. And 25 women spoke on this. So I mean, at some point the NFL got to step in and do something. Because
it's tough for me to say I like your outfit at work sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody looks nice once in a while, but like, so if that's tough for me to say just because you don't know how somebody will take it, why do they think that's okay?
I have no idea. It's because they got the power. They're the bosses. It's like, when you intimidate people with the threat of firing them, of making them lose their employment. And so that's why some of these women, it took a while for them just to speak on it, to bring it out, because as people got to make a living. People got to make a living, but when you do this constantly, it just gets uncomfortable, and you don't want to work there no more. And boom,
that's not a healthy workplace. Cause if I was, I got a daughter, so I'd be I ain't flying with my kid. Like, that's crazy. I don't care how old she is, just ain't flying.
Yeah, so the team in Washington got there's a whole lot of issues happening with that team that's been going on this year, especially with Dan Snyder. It's like people have been calling for him to leave for years, especially with the fan base in that area that actually loves the football team. But when you got an owner that's not putting out a good product, and then you have stories that are coming out of sexual misbehavior, it's like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, why are you still running this team?
Apparently morals isn't important. Apparently. Morals and ethics.
Yeah, if this was the NBA, they'd definitely find a way to get him out ASAP, because we saw with Sterling.
But, the NBA is a progressive league, right?
Yeah.
They're all about making steps to let the rest of them clowns follow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. and then other NFL news, we just going all over the place right now. We had us, all this breaking news kind of threw off everything. Like, bear with us.
And I knew it was coming.
It always does. All right, and also in the NFL news, the Ravens released Earl Thomas for conduct detrimental behavior towards the team, and I guess there was a whole lot of stuff that led up to this. It was him during practices and training camp, him just freelancing, doing whatever he wants, not doing his assignment, and then him not doing his assignment is making the other guys look bad because they'll mess up because he's supposed to be somewhere and he's not, and then it was like last year him like being late to meetings, him like when they flew out to Seattle for a game, they had a bye week, but he didn't fly back with the team. He just stayed there and didn't tell nobody. So it was just like he just had he wasn't being a professional.
Did he want to be there?
Oh, they gave him like $54 million.
No, but you can pay him, but did he want to be there? Because going from with the Seahawks, right? Mm-hmm. From the Seahawks to the Ravens, a little culture difference. They're both winning teams, but Seattle was, I want to say, in a better position at one point.
Yeah.
So now the Ravens are now almost in that position that Seattle was in a couple of years ago. So.
Yeah, it's just very weird. And then also like he so he had that situation that happened in the offseason with his wife. Remember that?
Kind of.
When she put the gun to his head.
Oh, yeah.
Because him and his brother were
doing
stuff with other women that they weren't supposed to be doing.
And his wife was a real one, apparently.
And his wife and his wife's friends rolled to where the location they were, which was like, I think it was like one of his rental homes or whatever.
Okay.
down in Texas. So it's like, dude, you haven't had the best offseason.
Yeah, I seen the clip this morning about what might have happened, like, I want to say contribute to him getting released, and I seen some guy throwing their helmet off, but I couldn't really follow the play.
Oh, yeah.
Because like, they ain't put a circle on him or nothing. So I get you saying about him, like, missing assignments and having, you know what I mean, other guys upset, but I don't know. I feel like the other guys in the NFL do worse stuff than this.
Yeah, but, you know, some organizations, they just need you to be a professional.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't, like, they can let it go if it's just, like, if it don't happen too often. But if it's frequent, where it's happening a lot, then it's just, like, and then they have the leeway to be like, oh, we really don't need you. You're up there in age. I mean, we can just void your contract or whatever. Then they'll do that. But it's like, I mean, he's already, I don't get his mindset.
Maybe he just was like, he got there and was like, you know what, man, I'll care less.
Granted, they had a great season last year, too. It was a great defense. They had a good defense last year, too. So I don't understand it. You know, but, you know, some people.
For what I heard of Earl Thomas, he's always been a decent professional.
Yeah.
For what I've heard.
I think the last few years in Seattle, that's when it started.
Yeah, so
spiraling.
maybe he might be sick of the league. To be honest, the way the world's going, I wouldn't want to play in the NFL. Just because, once again, they're not being progressive. They're not trying to really change things. They're not really trying to improve much.
Yeah.
You see how all this social stuff's going on in the world. They're not even making a statement at all. They're not even really being supportive of anything.
Yeah.
NBA's even being supportive of stuff. So, at some point, when you're a black man playing in a professional football league and you see how they look at the majority of their plays, which I feel they lack respect for them, why would you even want to be part of that?
Yeah. It's an interesting situation, but I'm sure somebody's going to pick him up. Somebody's saying that the Cowboys might pick him up because they need a safety, but we'll see what happens because he's going to get picked up because he's a talented guy and a vet. So somebody's going to get him. All right, let's go back to the NBA. So the Celtics, these guys, they made quick work of the 76ers, and they pretty much dismantled that franchise at this point because Brett Brown gets fired. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid's futures with the team is very up in the air right now. And, Celtics will move on to the second round. And me personally, I thought it was going to be a competitive 6-game series. I knew the Celtics were going to win. But then when I just saw, I was just like, oh, these guys, they're not playing around with them. And I was like, oh, okay, sweet.
Nah, I thought it was a sweep. Ben's not playing. Embiid doesn't want to be the best center in the league.
And the team surrounding was just terrible. All right, Ben Simmons out, so Embiid's the only guy there. You can't have your center there and not surround him with shooters.
I feel you, but he don't even put his foot down though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know Ben's not playing, man, put your foot down.
Maybe he checked out too, because maybe he looked around and he's just like.
I was talking to a friend of mine. He was saying that Embiid needs more pieces. I'm like, he got some pieces. Why don't he just play better? Man. Show him that you're a man amongst boys. Because I was watching Shaq last night. He was saying the same thing a couple nights ago. Just gotta be better though. You the biggest guy in the gym. Yeah.
If he was putting up crazy numbers and they still lost, we were like, different. Yeah. But he put up. I mean, he was putting up like 30 a game, but it wasn't like. It was just like he put up 30, but you're just like, I don't remember the 30. You know what I'm saying? Like he was getting his buckets, but it was just like. Then he'll have these moments where he'll show you, oh, Cantor, Tice, none of these guys can guard me, and he'll have these moments in this series where he just dominated, because honestly, if you looked at the Celtics' length, their front court. There's no reason that he should not have averaged 40 points in this.
He should have went to the line at least 10 to 15 times a game.
20, yeah.
So that's my thing. It's like, you're the man on the team. Yeah, they talk about Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons doesn't want to shoot, and you don't have him right now. So you got to just go be a king, go be a killer. Yeah. We don't care if you get smacked. You got swept anyways. Yeah. So you might as well put your best foot forward. And I don't feel like he ever does.
Yeah, he definitely didn't. I mean, last year when they had Jimmy Butler, he did. Granted, they lost off that crazy shot, but they saw when Jimmy Butler was there. It was just like, I swear, it's like Jimmy Butler is the motivational guy for a lot of teams.
A lot of guys look like they're, but they didn't have no real heart.
Yeah, because if you watch them last year in that series when they had like how Simmons and Embiid played but when Jimmy Butler was on the floor, it was just like, okay, we can see why these guys would be like a deadly combination. And then you let they just need a whole overhaul because they let Jimmy Butler go, they let JJ Redick go, they give Al Horford $100 million.
Don't forget who else they let go. What's his name? Donnie Sardrick, whatever?
They let Sarge. Oh, they traded Sarge.
Bad boy.
Yeah, they traded Sarge, Covington. That was part of the Jimmy Butler.
And who else? Who else left too? There was one more guy that left. That was solid.
I forget.
Oh, I forgot his name. I was talking to my boy about it the other day too.
Yeah, they let all the role players, all their solid role players, they either traded them or they didn't re-sign them. Especially JJ Redick. I don't understand why you wouldn't re-sign JJ Redick because he's like the perfect player to go along with Embiid and Simmons. And then Jimmy Butler, granted he got his money in Southeast, they're doing well, but I would have paid him before I paid Tobias Harris or Al Horford.
I didn't like how they got rid of them two guys. I can't think who it was though. I really can't even think.
Yeah, only one I can think is Covington and sorry, but whatever. So the Sixers, they're done, but the Celtics, we got to give a lot of these two guys, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kemba Walker. We got to give these guys a lot of credit.
Shameless.
Oh yeah,
that's who they shouldn't have let go. Cause that boy is a bucket.
Oh yeah, Landry Shamet.
Yeah, my bad for cutting you off.
Another shooter who could hit open shots.
Don't miss.
Yeah, they let him go. And then, but for the Celtics, Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown. That's my on-playing music. Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown. What I say?
Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, and
Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
They stepped up their game a whole lot, and that was, that's what we were looking for. Especially, I've been more impressed with Jaylen Brown this entire season, because last year he would just do dumb stuff defensively, and then offensively he'd fall in love with the three-pointer. And then now he's taking the ball to the basketball because he realized that he got a killer first step and nobody can stop him.
And this is why I say next year he'll be an all-star. Because if he plays like this consistently next year, he should be. But yeah, you figure it out, man. You realize three-headed monster. Kemba is the god we needed for the Celtics just because he's a selfless god.
Yeah.
And that's what you need, man. As a team, you need a selfless point guard. You need a point guard that's aggressive but understands that the team's bigger than him.
Yeah, definitely.
And last year, we didn't have that.
We definitely did not. And you could just see, like, they played so well. Like, this is basically like the same team as last year. Like, but the person you replace, his style is similar to that person, but it's just more, he's not moping around, or he's just not, the energy. He's just not being grumpy all the time.
To be honest, when they talk about when they're talking about Kyrie Irving, Kemba's the only person I would put in the same level with him. Because they play similar. Obviously, Kyrie a little more, his handle's a little better. A little more shiftier. Yeah. But Kemba's a winner.
Yeah.
Kemba's always been a winner. He showed that in college. He's winning now.
Yeah.
Because he got to a franchise. And, like I said, he's selfless. Yeah. He came in there ready to just play, ready to be part of the team.
Yeah.
Kyrie came in there wanting to be the man.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to happen. That happens organically. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And the thing with Kemba, he doesn't mind taking the back seat. He doesn't mind being the third option. Because when Jalen or Jason got it going on, he don't mind being the third option. Or even when Gordon Hayward's in the lineup and he has it going on, like we've seen it all season. When either of those four guys have it going on, it's like everybody steps back and just they'll play their role, and it's not nobody bumping.
Yeah, I like Kemba going to UConn. Because, I say Connecticut, people in Connecticut, they're a mix between, people from Massachusetts and people from New York.
Yeah.
So, I want to say Boston is a good fit for him because he went to UConn. So he understands what New England wants and how he acts. I don't think Kyrie did because he's all the way in Duke, come from Jersey. Think about it. Kemba, 3 years in UConn?
Yeah.
He's basically New England.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. So, hey, that's what it is in my book.
And he want to win, too. So
he wants to win. He's selfless. Yeah. He's always been selfless, so even his whole career.
Yeah. Now, the team they're facing, the Raptors, now these guys, they're like mirror images of each other, these two teams. They're like, You know how the Rockets have been getting all this praise for small ball. The Celtics and the Raptors pretty much been playing small ball the entire year, and they have a lot of guys that could do similar things. Like Ibaka, he's 6'11", but like the way he stretches the floor, he could also get out there and guard. He could guard guards and stuff like that. Him and Siakam, like those two guys right there. But you got the two little guys in the backcourt, so it's like these guys their playing style. It's like they want to go up tempo. Each team will throw up a lot of threes. I'm never a fan, but it's like we know what we're gonna get in this series. We're gonna get two teams that are gonna play extremely hard, offensively and defensively.
Well, with the Raptors, 2-point guards are like my height. You better be fast. You don't have tall guys, so like that's the only way to beat length is speed. So you know what I mean? I might be taller than Lowry, actually.
You might be.
I'm like 6'4". With top of Lowry, like what, 5'10"?
That's what they list him as.
5'9". So
NBA how they be listed heights. So.
And only thing with the Celtics though, they're gonna have to be very disciplined defensively, just because the Raptors, they got some guys that can get a bucket, but they pride themselves on getting the best open shot to whoever's open. It doesn't matter if it's a star or the fifth option.
And they also have to make sure they secure those rebounds. That was a problem in this against Philly. That was a problem. I mean, there was a game Philly had like 23 offensive rebounds, and so yeah,
it didn't even matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. That was the thing. That was the thing too. If you look at you go and look at that stat, you like this team got 23 offensive rebounds, and yeah, another reason why Philly is a hot mess. But they need to get those. They need to secure those rebounds because you give these guys second or third chance points, they're gonna capitalize because they can hit open shots and they could get an and one anytime. So I'm not. Well, we don't even know if this is gonna happen, but if it does happen, if they do play,
I mean, I'm sure they'll play at some point.
Game one's supposed to be tomorrow. Game one is scheduled for tomorrow, but both teams are talking about boycotting, and from what we just talked about, it might just happen. So
I mean, they just stopped shooting people. There'd be no reason to boycott.
Yeah, that too.
Like, why do we gotta stop asking for you to stop shooting us as people?
Yeah,
that's crazy. No other people will complain about that.
7 times in the back.
Like, that's illogical. Why are we even saying that?
Seriously,
stop shooting us. That sounds stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're gonna go to plus one interview. I talked with my guy Josue. We also previewed this game. It's NBA writer for Heavy.com, NBA and Celtics writer for Heavy.com. So check out this plus one interview. Welcome to another edition of the Plus One interview, and we have a friend of the show. He's back with us, Mr. Josue. What's going on, my man?
Mukala, how you been, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I feel like we could spend an hour catching up, man.
Oh, it's definitely been a while. Like,
yeah.
It's been a while, but a lot going on in the NBA right now. We got first round matchups that are still happening, and Celtics, they're on to the second round. A sweep of the Sixers, which surprised me a little bit, but kind of did not surprise me. I thought it'd be a competitive 6 games, but that
it got ugly quick, right? Yeah, it got pretty ugly.
it was not that. What did you make of how quickly they got rid of the Sixers?
I think it's good for the Celtics, honestly. I mean, for obvious reasons. You don't want to prolong that series. You want to keep that momentum going and carry it into the second round. But, I was a bit surprised. Even before the news about Ben Simmons, I still gave them 5 games, and I was leaning towards 6. But when the Ben Simmons news came out, I was like, I think Celtics will do it in 5. But I think what surprised me the most is some of those other guys didn't really come up big down the stretch.
Yeah.
I know someone like Tobias Harris. You look at his stat lines and his averages, and you're thinking, okay, well that sounds pretty on point for Tobias Harris. But I thought in these circumstances you get a little bit of more production. He did do a terrific job of rebounding. A lot of guys did on that team. But I was a little surprised though. Yeah, for sure. But the Celtics did what they were supposed to do. They look really good right now.
Yeah, and one thing they was having some issues with was the rebounding. The rebounding was
Oh yeah.
a bit of issues. They had to do kind of team rebounding. It seemed like every time a shot go up, you'd hold your breath to see if they get the rebound.
Yeah, you can't get away with that in this series, Mukala. I can't stress that enough. I mean, second chance opportunities, putbacks, just things that really drive the Toronto Raptors can really put you in a bad situation on the wrong end of a huge run. We've seen it over and over again with this team. We've seen a little bit of everything. You look at the season series, or at least throughout the last 3 years, it's pretty much split right down the middle. But we've gotten like a little bit of everything, right? We've seen the Toronto Raptors just crush the Celtics. We've seen them, come back against the Celtics. Same thing can be said for both sides. But I think when it comes down to rebounding, like, look, 20 offensive rebounds against the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 3. I still can't get over that. I can't get over the fact that you were able to give up 20, not only 20 offensive rebounds, but 20 second chance points. And you still won by, a handful of points. Normally you're on the wrong end of that game, but that wasn't the case. And I'm telling you right now, if the Celtics, if something similar to that nature happens against the Toronto Raptors, that's going to be a blowout game. The Raptors, they capitalized on those kind of, rebounding and again, those momentum driving possessions where they can really get going and blow you out.
Yeah, and if you look at both of these teams, Houston gets so much praise and adulation for their small ball lineup. But if you look at the Celtics and the Raptors, they've pretty much been playing small ball all year long. I know they have Ibaka and Gasol, but Ibaka's athleticism, you don't really see Gasol down the stretch that much. You see Ibaka, and the way Ibaka can stretch the floor, and then the way Siakam, how he attacks, and just the matchups there. There's some interesting matchups in this game, and we're gonna see small ball at its finest between these two teams.
Yeah, no question. And I'm glad you brought up Ibaka because he makes things so interesting. I mean, what an amazing year for him. He's been humongous for these guys. Putting up 20, like you said, he stretched the floor. He's a force on defense. The pick and roll set, which was huge for the Celtics in the Celtics' favor against the Philadelphia 76ers. But in this matchup, that's a really, really tough team to go up against in the pick and roll set because Siakam can stay out there with you. He can stay out there with your main your go-to guy, whether we're talking about Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown down the stretch. Kemba Walker, I think, is a huge advantage for the Celtics here. I do like them. I do like him in this matchup against him and Kyle Lowry. It does go beyond that, but I like that Kemba, the Celtics have that in their favor because it does go a long way with those 2 point guards. It's going to be a really good showdown between those two. But yeah, Ibaka's been balling out, man. And you look at the front court and other guys that come off the bench, they really been stepping up, especially throughout the playoffs. We've seen a lot of guys step up for this team.
Yeah, and Kyle Lowry, his status for Thursday's game is unknown. I'm certain right now with the ankle sprain. The Celtics are already dealing with their own injury with Gordon Hayward going out with that high ankle sprain that he has. So it's gonna be. I think the key for this is gonna be the benches. We just saw Toronto's bench put up 105 points. We've seen the Celtics bench, the guys that come in, they contribute in any way, shape, even whether it's big or small. Especially with Marcus Smart now being in the starting lineup because of Gordon Hayward. Now we need this. The Celtics bench is going to be key in this series. They're gonna have to step up a lot. A lot is going to be asked of them in this series.
Yeah, no question. You look at the Toronto Raptors, man. They got the Celtics beat on that side of things. Their second unit, I think, is they're a deeper team than the Celtics. I always say the Celtics are much more top heavy compared to other top teams in the East. Like 1 through 6, they're solid, rock solid. I put them up against any team in the NBA. Mm-hmm. But after that, that's when it gets really thin, and the Raptors had that to their advantage. They had that defense, that outside touch. Losing Gordon Hayward was huge for the Celtics because, yeah, Gordon Hayward is a starter, but he really blends in well with that second unit alongside Marcus Smart. Now, you're going to ask Marcus Smart to step things up a little bit. You're going to ask him to do a little bit more than he's usually been doing for the Celtics all year long. But that, of course, is no problem for Marcus Smart. He can't come up big in these big moments. My only concern with someone like Marcus Smart is how consistent he's going to be when it comes to scoring. Now, I know people may look at Marcus Smart as someone like this team doesn't need him to score big, but for this second unit, they're going to need a little bit more than what we've seen so far. Marcus Smart has had a good time in terms of, being who he is and coming up big in those plays and on defense, but in the scoring aspects of things, in Orlando, he struggled a bit. He's a little streaky. Marcus will surprise you when he struggles. We've seen that before. But this is, he's going to have his hands full here in that backcourt. Van Fleet and, other guards that can really rattle the Celtics' second unit. I'm going to look at someone like Marcus Smart and also a couple members of the starting unit to sort of help those in transition when they're trying to, give the starters a little bit of rest and they have to rely on the second unit. You expect to see someone like, Marcus Smart, of course, getting a little bit more minutes, but also maybe someone like Gordon Hayward, because of Gordon Hayward's out, someone like Jaylen Brown, and maybe a little bit of Tatum. I think Brad Stevens is going to be a little careful what he does with Tatum. I've noticed that when he does put Tatum in with that second unit, it's almost like he's a decoy. He's more of a just out there to sort of move the ball a bit before he goes to the bench and gets his rest.
I think another key guy off the bench, if he gets minutes, will be Romeo Langford. We've seen him get minutes here and there, but I think if he's able to see the court, I think his contribution is going to be key. And then I want to look at this matchup between Jason Tatum and Pascal Siakam. Now, this is probably going to be the two go-to guys down the stretch because of the way they can score the ball. And we both know how both are freakishly athletic and they can do so many things. But I think that's one of the key matchups I'm looking at because the way Jason Tatum has played, he had that one bad game. I think it was game 3 when he scored 15 points, but he was able to make some key plays. But in this game, I think he needs to be consistent throughout the series. He can't have these moments where he goes 2 for 12, 2 for 18. But he can't have one of those type of games.
Yeah, definitely. The Celtics are going to need all of that. And when you talk about this matchup in particular, what I love the most is down the stretch, what's going to happen between these two. Pascal Siakam is sort of heating back up again. He was out to a slow start when they first got to Orlando, but it seems like he's getting back into the groove of things after watching him in that first round matchup. But the one thing about the Celtics and Raptors when it comes down to those nail-biting games, I'm going to give the edge to the Celtics because I think Brad Stevens can come out with those big plays down the stretch and really surprise teams. When you least expect it. But when it comes to Pascal Siakam and Jason Tatum, I'm giving the edge to Jason Tatum, but it's not by a lot. And what I mean by that is when it comes down to it, I do think Jason Tatum can still come up big down the stretch against someone like Pascal Siakam. But I think the Toronto Raptors are a kind of team where they're good at building a solid lead before down the stretch, as opposed to the Celtics where they'll be neck and neck with you, and then they'll hit you with the final punch at the end. That's sort of been the MO, especially with these two teams in their matchups. But yeah, the Toronto Raptors again because they're so tough and because they have guys that can come up big on both ends. They're good enough to build that solid lead before the 2-minute mark, and then before you know it, the Brad Stevens is emptying out his bench.
Josue, tell them where they can find you, social media, and also where they can find your work.
Of course, but check me out on Twitter. I'm at Joe_Sway. You can check my work out on heavy.com. I got plenty of stuff coming out. I have a couple stories actually just came out yesterday. If you want to check that out, it's at heavy.com. But of course, give me a follow on Twitter at Joe_Sway.
All right, and there you have it. It's been another edition of Plus One with my guy Josue. All right, and we are back. I want to thank my man Josue for that. He's always good to come on here and talk some Celtics with me. All right, we got a little new segment here. So we're gonna give a little wrap up with New England sports. What's happening in New England sports, and we have Mia Lynn. She's a junior right now at Wheaton College, and she's a sports enthusiast. She wants to be a sports reporter. That's her goal. So she contacted me. She wanted to just get some tips and some stuff. So I just thought, what, we'll give you a little contribution to the show. So here's Mia Lynn with the New England sports wrap up update, whatever. Check it out.
Good afternoon, this is Mia Lynn here with the New England Sports Scores and Updates. What a week it's been for New England sports all around. It's not every day that this many professional sports teams in the area are playing at once. To start off, the Boston Red Sox capped off an exciting win over the Toronto Blue Jays last night as they wrapped up the first half of their 60-game sprint of a season. The Red Sox can credit their victory to their 6-run 6th inning last night. The two teams will play again tonight. First pitch is at 6:37 p.m. The Red Sox currently sit in 5th and last place in the AL East with a record of 10-20. They'll look to finish the season strong and march into the second half of the season with a win tonight. The Connecticut Sun are having a good time down in Florida in the Wubble, as they like to call it. The Sun currently hold the second place in the Eastern Conference behind the Chicago Sky, and after a big win over the New York Liberty on Saturday, who they played without Sabrina Ionescu, the number 1 draft pick, due to her ankle injury, the Sun will look to make it 2 wins in a row as they take on the 5th seed in the Western Conference, the Phoenix Mercury. The Sun will look to Alyssa Thomas and Dewana Bonner to lead them to another win tonight, tip-off at 10. Things are starting to feel normal at Gillette Stadium again with Patriots training camp underway. Everyone's asking the question, who is going to get that starting quarterback position? Well, the answer is starting to become clearer and clearer as the days go by. Jarrett Stidham is still battling his injury, which has left plenty of time for Cam Newton to prove himself and why he should get that spot. According to an interview with Coach Bill Belichick on Monday, Coach said that Cam Newton is impressive. He describes Cam as the type of guy who's the first one in and the last one out. What more could you want out of a potential starting quarterback? It looks like Cam Newton will try to lock that spot down in the coming days and weeks of practice as the Patriots prepare to take on the Miami Dolphins in their season opener on Sunday, September 13th at 1 p.m. Lastly, the Boston Bruins are in pursuit of the Stanley Cup. They are in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, playing against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The series is currently tied at 1-1 after the Bruins fell in an overtime thriller last night. The final score was 3-4. However, the Bruins will look to make a quick turnaround tonight as they take on the Lightning again at 8 p.m. and as they look to take that series lead and make it 2-1. That's all I've got for today. Make sure to tune in next week for more New England sports scores and updates.
Thank you, Mia, for that. And now, all right, so some other NBA news. Nick Nurse, who was talking about the Raptors, he was named Coach of the Year. This was like a really good Coach of the Year race. There were a lot of good candidates. Billy Donovan, he could have got it. The coach in Milwaukee, Budenholzer, he could have got it. Frank Vogel, he could have got it. So there was a lot of good candidates. But I think Nick Nurse for all he lost, because he did lose a major. The person that got him, got that.
He lost the 5-bounce king. Talking about.
He lost the guy that got the franchise over the hump, and for these guys to step up the way they did, I think he's deserving of a Coach of the Year.
I wouldn't even got nothing to say to that. Because, bro, you missed the guy that what you got 2 championships and 2 finals MVPs, and you had the best record in the East, second best record in the East, right?
Yep.
You don't got an MVP candidate on your team, so I would take that. That's definitely good coaching. Like Milwaukee, yeah, that's cool, but you got Giannis, bro. Like,
yeah,
please. Please. The Raptors, man, kudos to you, man.
Speaking of Giannis, he was named Defensive Player of the Year yesterday as well, and he's gonna get the MVP. It's just the question of will it be unanimous or not because of the season he's having.
I was kind of shocked when he got Defensive MVP. I probably haven't been keeping up that much. The league's been kind of crazy this year, but I don't really see him that crazy defensively.
Well, yeah, there's this guy Shane Young. When he put up the stats of Giannis defensively, it's just like, oh,
okay.
Right. Anthony Davis, he did have a case, but Lakers fans, they're just crying right now. They're like, oh my gosh, how can AD not get it? He had 80 more. He had 40 more steals and 80 more blocks and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, listen.
40 more steals and 80 more blocks.
Yeah, but listen.
Oof.
Giannis, there was a majority of the season he wasn't playing in the fourth quarter. So that kind of factors into that as well. So
my thing is, though, that shouldn't factor in because that's the coach's decision not to play him. So stats are stats. I'm just saying that's the coach's decision not to play him. Like that's all I'm saying. Like the stats are better by that much. That's nobody's fault but the guy that want to take you out.
Hey, I mean, hey.
I'm just saying though.
When you blowing teams out, you're like, I'm not risking my best player.
I get what you're saying, but then it's like, if your numbers aren't nowhere near, like, bro, 80 and 40, that's crazy.
Yeah, but
That's crazy, though. That's all I'm saying, though.
Oh,
It's not like 10, 15 more, like, bro. Like, woo. So that's all I'm saying. Like, and that's the gray area I don't like about voting for All-Stars and voting for MVPs and all this. He didn't play, nobody cares. Make him play a little bit. At least first 3-4 minutes.
I don't know, but...
Because think about it, you play 3-4 minutes, you get a couple blocks, a couple steals, you probably would have been right where Anthony Davis is, statistically.
Maybe.
And it's a business. I don't pay for tickets. I don't pay for tickets, but if I pay for tickets, I wouldn't pay tickets to watch somebody for 3 quarters.
Hey, man.
Or to sit out again. We need to refund people.
You get when you blowing teams out, it's like it be like that. So that happened, but Lakers fans, man, my goodness, they're I love the misery of Laker fans because they always think there's a conspiracy against them and all that. So I'm just like, yo,
Conspiracy. They wear yellow and purple. That's the conspiracy.
Right? Yeah. So
I'll take black and yellow, black and purple.
Yeah. So so there's that, and then also some other NBA news. Nate McMillan, he got fired after they got swept by the Miami Heat, head coach of the Indiana Pacers, which is very intriguing because they literally gave him an extension like a month ago.
I don't think these people really think before they start throwing money at people. Because there's been many people that got fired right after getting an extension. Yeah. What is the point?
Or traded.
What is the point? Yeah. Just tell them the truth. Like, honestly, man, we don't think you're going to be here next year.
Yeah.
Do the best you can and we'll give you a good resume, a good reference letter to someone else or something. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, right. But it's kind of like the team was in. He didn't have his full team.
He didn't have his full team for the past 3 years.
Yeah, Oladipo hurt, Sabonis hurt. They're getting guys in and out the lineup. So it's just like these organizations, they just have no patience.
Some definitely don't, but then others do, and it's like, why?
Yeah, and Nate McMillan has proven that he's a good head coach. Like, they've been to the playoffs every year since he's been with that team. So I'm just like,
and that puzzles me because how you firing playoff coaches? When we were younger, you made the playoffs. That was like another year for you. Like, we thought like.
And then coaches that don't make the playoffs get 3 or 4 different other jobs.
And that's when I think, like, those coaches that get other jobs always rubbing elbows. Yeah. And guys that don't really care to rub elbows get fired when they win. Like, like what?
Yeah, man, it it makes no sense. But all right, so we got like 5-6 minutes left. So the interview was a little like 18 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, all right.
Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell have been putting on quite the show, and I'm really surprised. I'm surprised but not surprised. A little bit surprised. Like Donovan Mitchell, I knew he had this, but I didn't know he could explode, like having an offensive explosion the way he's been having. Then Jamal Murray last night, I've seen when he gets hot, he gets hot. He don't miss.
I think the Mitchell and Murray thing is kind of weird because, for one, I think Mitchell went to Brewster, right? He went to a prep school around here. They went to Louisville, so we got to see him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Got to see his growth, like literally seeing his growth, seeing him improving his shooting at Louisville.
Yeah, I think he was 2 years at Louisville.
You know what I mean? So you didn't expect that coming out of him because you've seen his progression and just him improving every year. You didn't think he was gonna make that leap. Yeah. And he made it. And Murray's like Kentucky guy, like you knew he was gonna figure it out. It's kind of like you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt because he went to Kentucky. Yeah. I would say. You know what I mean? Calipari product. A lot of them guys usually bring something to the table. Yeah. I just didn't see him dropping 50 like this, but yo, the next wave of stars. Next wave, man.
You're right, he did go to Brewster Academy.
Come on, bro. Yep. I know.
Yep.
I mean, I was talking to every prep school when I was coming out, but it's one of them things when you see somebody that's kind of local, and then you see him going to Louis, you see him on TV, you just don't expect him to really turn into an all-star.
He had some explosions, and like 250 burgers in the series, and then Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, back-to-back 40-point games. That's just like, ooh.
Like, to be honest, like a player that came from here that you would have thought might have did something like that, Michael Carter Williams.
We thought
6'5", so 6'6" point guard, and that's what I mean. You see Mitchell, it's like, all right, like it's crazy who comes out. You know what I mean?
And you know what the crazy thing about Mike Carter Williams is? After his rookie year, it was like, oh, okay, you got rookie of the year. Like, okay, this dude might be something. Then
Injuries.
Then he just bounced from team to team to team. Like, granted for him, he's still in the league. So
I just think because us seeing it, kind of like if your brother went to the league with an all-star, you know what I mean? It's like we probably wouldn't believe it right away because it's like we know him. You know what I mean? So and I've seen Mitchell almost a lot of his career.
Definitely. And then some other NBA, the Lakers, the two LA teams are. Somebody said they finally told themselves, all right, we're done playing with these boys, and we seen it last night with the Clippers and how they dismantled the Mavericks after Luka did what he did on Sunday. I mean, Luka, like,
for one, they better not say nothing bad about Luka.
Yeah,
he gave you a triple double with a 40 ball right on a bad angle.
Yep.
Don't say nothing. First of all, the bad angle supposed to slow you down. It slowed him down. He was even better.
And he's already slow.
That's what I'm like. But the way I was watching that game, I'll be honest, that game was more entertaining than the Laker one because I like seeing Paul George score.
Yeah, he finally got out his slump. You know, he talked to reporters. He was, you know, he wasn't. He was talking about he wasn't there mentally. Just stuff happening. It was just like, yeah, okay, we could get that. But yeah, he finally had an eruption last night and. It was just like the Clippers were just too much for them. It was just too much. They got too much. They just have too much.
I ain't gonna lie. It looked like at one point Kawhi was just too much for everybody.
Yeah.
He was out there.
You see that steal? He just snatched it out of Boban's hand.
I don't know.
Oh,
but I seen the play when he had like a little fake and it came out in the middle.
Oh yeah.
The dunk was so smooth.
Yeah.
And you can just tell like Kawhi was just sick of it. Like I think the way he was playing, like he didn't care if Paul George was gonna get any buckets or not. He was trying to
make it. Yeah,
he was trying to bury them regardless. Like
because they did have a 21-point lead, so it was like let's not waste time with these boys again. All right, and then Porzingis not being there sucks. It's like this dude can't catch a break. I swear when dude, you know, because he had that torn ACL like 2 years ago. I swear when folks get that ACL injury, it's like. The soreness always comes at some point, and it's just like, I mean, it gotta be serious for you not to be able to play. Maybe it's not that serious, but
it was the same knee.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was the opposite knee.
Maybe, but you know when these injuries happen, it's like, and sometimes the teams want to just take precaution because they give him that big contract, so it's just that they don't want to throw him out there. So it's like, but it's the playoffs, and he was balling. He's been balling. I think he was putting up like 20 or 30 in postseason.
I think he had a 30 ball.
Yeah. So that hurt them a lot. But, you know, this series is very entertaining, especially for the side story. You know.
Which one?
You know.
With Harold?
No, Harold with Seth Curry, Paul George.
Yeah. That was. My whole thing is, though, when Seth said what he said to Paul George, bro, like, why do you care? You're married to her.
It's still hilarious.
Like, why would you even address that? Like,
it's still
you know what I mean? Like,
maybe it's hilarious. That thing was funny, man.
If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't even have that. You know what I mean?
Man, yo, I ain't gonna lie. Seth Curry has had some moments in the NBA of trash talking that's just been funny. Like last year in the playoffs when go watch that tape again. That highlight when Dame hit that shot. Just look at.
Oh, nah, yeah. I remember that. He was letting Paul have it.
He was letting that whole team have it. I'm like, man. But we got shout out to Seth Curry, man, because having your older brother being this like being a MVP and getting all these accolades, and then the way he got to the league and how he's been able to stay to the league. It's like we saw two different stories of how to make it in the NBA. Is like, and it's within a family. It's like just mad interesting. I find that very interesting.
I think it's cool, but I'm gonna say you probably that fraternity, they're gonna give you a couple looks.
Yeah.
Especially if you can compete at that level.
And you can make shots.
You're gonna get a benefit of the doubt compared to some other guys. Because, hey, your dad's a great pro, your brother's a great pro. Hey,
ain't nothing wrong with nepotism.
Nope, nothing wrong with what they say. It ain't about what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly.
Hey, because I've been benefiting on that too. So, hey.
Check us out. Go to lctv.org. Check us out. Check out check out past interviews that we've been doing. I've been doing a lot of interviews, so go to lctv.org to check us out. Go to the YouTube channel, check that out. Facebook, Lynn TV, Lynn Community Television. Make sure you check that out. Instagram, Mr. Burton, Mr. Burton, is it underscore?
I think it's Mr. Burton 23. I think.
Mr. Burton 23, Mukala _K. Also LCTV After the Whistle. Make sure you follow that.
Stop being scared to work out. Y'all see us on the gram.
You see it, right? You see it. You see it. You see
You know
it.
what I mean? Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome. Come do these burpees with me. You know,
Yeah.
100 burpees a day makes the belly go away. That's the saying, right? I just made that.
Oh, it makes the belly stay away.
That too.
Uh.
On that note, we'll be back next week, guys. So
Definitely will.
hopefully there'll be some good news happening. But make sure next week we'll be back, same time.